Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys about Sig's still somewhat new Spectre Comp. I'm going to be talking with you guys about what it is, what it comes with, my experiences shooting it, and my thoughts on some of its features and overall function. So about 2 months ago, I did a video on why I chose the P365X over the standard or the XL models. And in that video, I shared that I wasn't totally thrilled with the overall shootability of the P365. It's not perfect, and I'm not 100% sold on it yet. And that has a lot to do with the fact that it's just a little gun and it's going to be kind of snappy. But that didn't stop me from wanting to kind of go down the path of finding a more shootable P365, which is what has led me towards looking into and working with the Spectre Comp. Conveniently enough, around the same time that I was looking into the Spectre Comp or considering getting the PMM Comp, Sig actually contacted me and offered to send me the Spectre Comp for testing and evaluation. So thank you, Morgan, for sending the Spectre Comp and making this video possible. So basically the Spectre Comp is a P365XL. It's going to have all the same dimensions, but it has a built-in compensator and some custom parts. If you're not familiar with what a compensator does, it forces gas from the firing cartridge up, which keeps the muzzle flatter. That said, the Spectre Comp's compensator is not quite aligned with a traditional compensator. It's a little bit different. And that's because the end has to be fully open to allow the barrel to pass through when the slide moves back. If you'd like to see the Spectre Comp directly compared to one of the best compensators on the market from Parker Mountain Machine, I would highly suggest you go over to the Humble Marksman's channel and watch his comparison video. The Spectre Comp comes with the following features. Comes with a compensator built into the slide, nitron slide finish, titanium nitride finishes on the barrel and the trigger, night sights, two 12-round flush-fitting magazines, optics cut that allows you to keep your rear sight unlike other P365 models, laser engraved grip module, flared magazine well, and a custom shop coin. I shot just over 800 rounds through the Spectre Comp over the last 2.5–3 months, and most of those rounds were shot just at the range, but I was able to put it through a short shooting class as well. I used mostly Turin and Norma 124 grain 9mm, but I also tried 50 rounds of Blazer 115 grain aluminum cased ammo and 50 rounds of Wolf 115 grain steel cased ammo. When I got the gun in, I decided that I did not want to clean the gun at all during the entire review, so I did shoot all 800 plus rounds without a single cleaning and only a single application of Slip 2000 EWL gun oil. Much to the surprise of other people I've shared this with, I actually didn't have any malfunctions with the Spectre Comp through all 800 rounds. And that even includes putting really cheap, light loaded ammo through it, which if you don't know a whole lot about compensators yet, then note that usually if you put a light loaded ammo through a compensator, that's usually when you're gonna start seeing some issues with reliability, but I didn't have any malfunctions. I did, however, have my Romeo 0 fail during the shooting class that I took the Spectre Comp through. And I didn't really want to deal with taking it off during the class, but I had just put a new battery in there. So it didn't really make sense to me that it was going to be a battery problem, but the dot was coming in and out of actually functioning. So it wouldn't work when it was just still, but during recoil, the dot would kind of come on and off. So long story short, I get home, I take the optic off, and sure enough, there is a little hole that is on the mounting footprint. And because the Romeo 0 is open on the bottom and the battery is directly interacting with that mounting footprint, the battery was essentially sitting in a light coating of oil because that oil had come through that little hole from the slide. Now that doesn't really matter if you have a holosun or another enclosed bottom optic, but if you're planning on using a Romeo 0, this might just be something to kind of look out for and take into consideration. I've considered doing a full review on the Romeo 0, so if that's something you're interested in seeing or hearing more about, please comment down below and let me know if that's something you would like me to spend some time on. I found that there was a noticeable difference in felt recoil and muzzle rise, especially compared to other 9mm P365 series guns. Especially when I was actually managing recoil well and reliably, I honestly didn't even get to see my dot leave the window, which in turn, I think allows me to shoot faster because my sights are on target, my trigger's reset, and therefore I can shoot faster. I'm not waiting for the sights to come back. I'm not waiting around for those things to happen for all of the stars to align so that I can pull the trigger again. So it lets me shoot more better. I honestly don't love the gold finishes, especially when at this point we know that the traditional black finish is going to show wear much less than this gold finish. And I think that this is honestly something that could be left up to aftermarket purchases because it's just such a personal preference thing. And speaking of the barrel, and another thing that I really don't love that Sig has been doing on all of their P365 series guns is the loaded chamber indicator. I realize in theory that it sounds like a good idea, and I'm sure that some of you watching this video probably really love this feature, but I found that it just allows oil and gunk to dirty up my dot window. Little cutout here, it's allowing oil to come through and it's like oiling up my lens on the front. Especially on the newer P365 series guns. I'm not sure which ones have this and which ones don't. I know the Spectre Comp does, but the ones that have the rear sight that actually stays, whereas with older ones, at least my P365 just X, came with no rear sight. You lose it when you take the optic footprint off and usually replace it with the optic because it has like a rear sight notch in it. But with those, the optic sits further back, so it doesn't get as dirty as fast from the loaded chamber indicator. But on the newer ones, the optic sits further forward and therefore closer to that loaded chamber indicator, and it just gets dirty so fast. I know that you can just wipe it off, but it's a thing. It's a thing. If you're aware of any aftermarket barrels that are of good quality and don't have this loaded chamber indicator, please let me know. The grip module is essentially a standard P365 XL grip module, but it has laser stippling on it, and the texture is just a little bit different. I would say that the texture is a little bit more coarse rather than fine. So it's just a little bit more dispersed. And the thing that I actually like about that, I don't know that it actually helps with managing recoil better or anything like that. But I found with this gun and with other guns that I've shot that have a coarser grip texture, I find that it gives me feedback that my brain can actually respond to while I'm shooting. So if I have a discrepancy in my support hand grip, I'm not holding the gun hard enough with my support hand, the movement from that coarser texture, I feel it on my hand. And I found personally that I can realize that in recoil, and it's like a reminder for me to tighten up my support hand grip. And for whatever reason, I think that it's slightly, like marginally less painful to carry. It's probably not less painful enough to not wear an undershirt or wear any kind of barrier between my skin and the grip of the gun. But I did find that it was slightly more tolerable than just the standard grip texture. It also has the standard P365 XL flared magwell. And personally, I don't really see the value in having a flared magwell on a concealed carry gun. I just see it as something that makes concealment more challenging and doesn't actually give the private citizen like a tangible benefit. Like I guess it's nice maybe to have at the range, or like if it's just a range gun, but in terms of concealed carry, like I don't get it. In summary, all in all, I'm super happy with this gun. I thoroughly enjoy shooting it. I absolutely notice a difference in muzzle rise and felt recoil, which is exactly what I was looking for. But for me personally, I'm not totally certain. Like genuinely, I'm not totally sure it would be worth the $1,200 price point for me. But before I even started working with this gun, I was really hoping that Sig would launch just the Spectre Comp slide, which they did do throughout the course of me working with this gun and doing this review. They launched just the slide, and that hits at a $500 price point, which on one hand, like, ouch, that also is expensive. But on the other hand, when you go to buy a Parker Mountain Machine comp, it comes with a barrel, but the comp and barrel combo is $399, so $400, $100 less than just getting this entire slide. So I think for those of us that already own a P365 or we're looking to build one out, the $500 price point for the compensator that's built into the slide, I think is pretty reasonable, especially when we compare it to the cost of the Parker Mountain Machine compensator. I think that it's just kind of par for the course when it comes to buying compensators. My initial interest with the Spectre Comp was to find a more shootable P365, and I think the Spectre Comp does exactly that. But for the same reason, Sig also sent me the P365 380, which definitely produced some very different and very interesting results, which I will be sharing in next week's video. So if you guys are interested in seeing how the P365 380 stacks up, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you guys can see when next week's video pops up. And to follow along with that, I do have another P365 series video coming out here in the next couple of weeks where I'm literally going to compare just about every P365 series gun that has ever existed. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in next week's video.